Hello and welcome. So, I want you to say a big hello to a beautiful woman who I would like to call my friend. Her name is Pam Molyneux. Hi, Pam, and welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
And I let's just start by you sharing a little bit about who you are and the type of work that you do for the listeners, please.
Certainly. I'm Pam Molyneux, and I am a HR consultant. And I set up my business 4 years ago, and I support small to medium enterprises who don't have HR in their business. And then I also support larger companies that do have HR in their business, but maybe don't have the capacity to deal with whatever they need to be dealing with from a people management perspective.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm doing it really well.
Mm,
So, we're just having a little chat today, aren't we? Just about energy healing and soul psychology, all that stuff that I do. I sometimes find it really tricky to explain to people what it is. So that's one of the things that you very kindly volunteered to do with me in this session, um, to just try and explain what you got out of it as a woman in business. So the first question really is, what made you decide to sign up?
it was back in, let me think, 2023,
Yeah.
going into 2024. I'd been running my business for a couple of years and knew that I needed to do something for me. And it wasn't necessarily about personal development around like running the business or even like personal development for me on, I don't know, say public speaking or, being better at some kind of skill. I needed to do something where I had space for me and that somebody could support me with that headspace. That coupled then just with being curious about the whole energy piece and what does that mean, and because I suppose when you're mixing in those types of circles where there are lots of females and you hear of different things, this started to come up and I'd heard you speak as well a few times, and yeah, that curiosity started to grow. So one for me and then two to find out more.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad you did.
Mm, yes,
Um,
me too.
so we went on quite a journey, didn't we? You and I. Um, we were both doing similar things at the same time. Both working as franchisees for Unique Ladies, and we were Unique Ladies twins, weren't we, at the time? So we'd got this sort of connection, hadn't we, right at the beginning of understanding and knowing each other.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
since we started doing the work, how, what have you put in place since we did the work together? What's different now to what it was from the beginning?
So I am definitely more aware of me and what I'm able to do. And I know that's might sound like a bit like what, but again, having that space and having you looking in on me and my language and what am I doing, and that self-sabotage piece that I think a lot of us have got when we are one-man bands. Um, no, I'm able to bring myself up on that. I'm not saying I get it all the time, but I'm able to correct that far better than what I ever was. And that is through that awareness, that coaching, that support that you provided me and giving me that tool in which to be aware of, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? If I'm not getting those results, what mentality am I approaching that with? And again, just looking under the bonnet and just looking at those limiting beliefs and saying, how true are those?
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Because when we've been carrying that language and those beliefs around with us all our lives, some of us are ancient like me in their 60s, where they're like, that language is a pattern that's been running in our system for all our lives. And it's been running so long that we don't even recognize it as being something that's not empowering us, do we?
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I think as well, obviously we had our sessions together, but because we were mixing in the same circles as well, you could actually see me out there in the field, and then bringing that back into our sessions as well to say, it's interesting how you said it this way, or I heard you say this, and why do you think that? And yeah, it was just great to have somebody in my corner who was looking out for me.
Oh, that's lovely. So we've talked about the coaching element of it. What about the energy healing? What do you think's shifted since we've done that part of the work together?
I think from an energy perspective, looking at how um, I am on a daily basis and reflecting back on that week as to what pockets work for me, what pockets didn't work for me. If maybe my week hasn't gone to plan, why, and if it has gone to plan, again questioning why and how can I put myself in that energetic place better. And again, all the tools that you've given me to do that, they're still there. I'm still working on them, and using them as I need to. So yeah, it's very powerful, and has allowed me to create amazing shifts, and it allows me to be in the space that I want to be at that particular time.
It's interesting. Thank you for that. Those tools, I forget to tell people about the tools. So there are a lot. What do you feel like you sort of fall back on mostly? What have you found most valuable from those tools?
Um, Gosh, there's so many.
Mm.
Um, my go-to every week is the Sunday strategy. I find
Oh,
that so powerful. Um, and it's done from a place of somebody who's making it real, who is, it's not something that's out of a textbook or some model that, somebody created, because there's loads of strategies, isn't there, of how you can review your week and how well it's gone, etc. But that's coming from somebody with lived experience who's been there, done it, got the successes, got, going round in circles and, created a resource for somebody else to be able to say, right, okay, let's cut through this, let's keep it real. This is what you need to be doing. And I think that mix of looking at it from a well-being perspective of what has gone well that week, but also that business element. And you are an expert in marketing with everything that you've done in the past as well. So even just all of that mixed into it, it's such a powerful tool. And as I say, that one that I use every single week, and I know that I'm setting myself up then for the next week to say, right, okay, what we doing?
oh, fabulous. Oh, I'm so pleased you're using it. That's great.
Yeah, and
Good.
there's loads of others, but that is my go-to. That is always the one that every single week I know that I'm going to be using it, and I know that I'm going to
Look
get
what's
so
sitting on
much
my
out of
desk.
it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thank you. So, um, what do you think makes me different from other coaches in your experience?
I think you are big on aftercare, so we have our sessions, but then there's that follow-up and there's those check-ins. So it's not just like, right, we've done our bit out of sight, out of mind until you come into the next one. So I think that's a big piece. I think you mix in the whole soul alignment, energy piece with business. So, as I've said about that strategy, about that marketing piece, um, and I've not seen that happen before, and I've certainly not experienced it before. So I think that is very unique, and definitely sets you apart from other coaches that I've worked with.
Good, thank you. Um, so about you now. So from a we sort of covered this already. I'm just wondering if there's anything else. So from an inner shift perspective, what do you feel has shifted internally that's different to what how you were before?
Belief in myself, knowing that I'm worthy, simple. And I
Beautiful.
would never have been able to have said that 12 months ago.
That's such a fundamental part, isn't it, of running a business. When you're the figurehead, when you're running that business, it can be a really lonely place, can't it? So to be able to have someone that's confidently and confidentially supporting you where in a space where you know that they've totally got your back. Um, I've said this a few times recently, but I wish there'd been somebody like me when I was starting out on my journey. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's powerful, isn't it?
Very.
And then, so what about the clients that you attract now? Are they different to the clients that you were attracting before?
Yeah. So when we first started working together, beginning of 2024, I was very much supporting and serving SMEs, business owners, managers, etc. Where I've shifted now. I'm still supporting SMEs and always will. But because of that belief in myself and also having that clarity, I think, that's another thing, when you said before about the difference that you've provided, you've given me that clarity, and that has allowed me to step into that confidence of being able to support HR people. And I
Mm.
never thought that I would be in that space. It was never even on the radar. But as I went through 2024 and understanding what am I here to do? What do I want my business to be known for? What's the legacy that I want to leave behind? I want to support the people who are, I know I've been there, I've been sat in that seat and had that responsibility within an organization. So those clients now have shifted to a very different zone of one businesses, but then two, the actual individuals who are the decision makers and who I'm working with on a day-to-day basis. So that that would not have happened if I had not stepped into that belief in myself and knowing that I'm worthy to do this work.
We did a really interesting session together, didn't we? It's just reminded me about your USP, about what made you different from other companies. And I'm really big on, and again, just lessons learned from the work that I've done in the past about creating a smart business that creates residual income where you're not constantly exchanging hours for pounds. And when we did that piece on who that five-star avatar was, there was a bit of a light bulb moment there, wasn't there, about pulling a few different elements of your business together to create something a much smarter way. Yeah, it was a powerful session, wasn't it, that?
Yeah, and I think as well with each session we're stripping it back around, what are the limiting beliefs, what's that self-sabotage that's going on, what's that language that I'm using, but how do we move that forward now from a business point of view? And every single week there was that additional clarity. I remember coming away thinking, right, okay, I'm clearer on that, and that clearer picture at the beginning would have been like this small, and it just started to get bigger, 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 wider, which then, allows for these things to come in that wouldn't have been able to come into scope if, yeah, one, I didn't have that support from a business strategy point of view, but then also from that energy work as well.
Fabulous. Yeah, it was very cool. It was fabulous work that we did together. It really was. Even though I say so myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so how does the way that you're running your business now feel? What's going on for you now?
So, a review of 2024 or going into 2025, allowed me, there's this thing, isn't there, about word of the year, and my word of the year going from 23 to 24 was growth. And oh my word, did I get that growth in 2024 from a business point of view, but also my personal growth. Going into this year, i.e. 25, it was about alignment, but more than just normal alignment, it was about that. So it needed to be soul aligned. So that now is how I'm running my business around one, appreciating the importance of spending that time on me, which then allows me to work on the business and not always in the business. And you mentioned about pulling all the different elements and that 5-star avatar work that we did. And that was looking at the people, the systems, the platforms, the technology in place. So yeah, it's far more organized and purposeful, I think is probably the best way to describe it now.
Woohoo! Amazing. It was a big piece of work. It was amazing. So finally, have you got anything that you can share with us about what your plans are for the business moving forward now?
Yes, so this year is all about um, the offerings through my podcast and that community that I'm building with those experts. Because I got so busy last year and I was working out, the systems and who needs to be doing what and everything, I had to part certain things, one of them being the podcast. But as part of that decision making as well, it's about getting the right support. So I've now got Vicky who's helping me from a podcast perspective, and she's doing all the editing and just making sure that I'm doing things when I need to be doing them and keeping me accountable, which is great. So this year it's about making sure that all of those 26 episodes gets released, and then creating that community off the back of that, of those experts in those places of challenging situations that managers need to deal with when they're dealing with people management issues. So far, so good, touch wood. We're releasing every 2 weeks, and we've got lots of episodes to come as well. And we've got lots of amazing experts that are giving up their time. So that is, it's been a passion project, but not like a passion in like, it's a hobby, it's a sideline. This is a fundamental piece of what I wanted to introduce into the business, so that we could give managers a place to come and tap into a resource that allows them to get some real, tangible steps and actions and tools to be able to support the staff in whatever they might be going through. So, yeah, that's the focus for this year, and just to continue to help as many businesses as possible.
That sounds amazing. Is it going to be a paid for thing, Pam, or is it something that you uploaded onto YouTube? How can they find out about it?
So, the podcast will be on Spotify and on YouTube. Um, there's offshoots from it, but I mean the podcast itself is free. It's all there. There's lots of useful links and resources that are associated with it as well.
Fabulous. What I'll do is, if you want to send me those links across, we'll add them to the bottom of this so that people know where to find you and they can absorb themselves into all that lovely content that you're creating. I know from running my own marketing agency that managing people was the trickiest part of the job. Um, so yeah, it's a really valuable resource, isn't it? And isn't it funny how YouTube is one of those channels, isn't it, where you automatically think, right, how do I? I've done it this weekend for something, put it straight into YouTube, um, and the answer was there. So yeah, well
Um,
done, honey. Well done.
thank
Okay.
you.
So that's it. It's a wrap, as they say. Thank you so much for sharing some of your valuable time with us today. I'm wishing you all the love in the world. You are amazing at what you do and a beautiful soul. And I've thoroughly enjoyed working with you. Um, so yeah, thank you, Pam Molyneux.
Well, thank you so much for all your support and for everything that you've done for me and for having me on today.
Thank you. Thanks very much.